Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that literally every single one of us interacts with all day, every day, our gadgets. I mean, technology has totally revolutionized our world, right? Our devices let us do things that honestly were completely unimaginable just a couple of decades ago. But we really need to stop and ask ourselves, is this always a good thing? Today, we're going to unpack exactly how our everyday tech is completely rewiring our human habits from the ground up.
We were all sold this dream that technology was going to be like this helpful butler, just quietly waiting in the wings to make our lives a breeze. But let's be real. For most of us, it's morphed into a demanding boss, and not a good one. A boss that constantly pings us for attention, wakes us up in the middle of the night, and basically dictates our entire daily routine instead of, the other way around.
So it sets up this massive paradox. Are we actually connected to endless knowledge, or are we just more vulnerable to believing misinformation? Are we genuinely more engaged with the world, or are we all just, infinitely more distracted? It's the ultimate modern dilemma. Is all this tech actually bringing us together, or is it just pushing us further into isolation?
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at outsourcing our brain power. Then, losing our physical intuition. Third, the convenience trap. And finally, how to go about reclaiming our habits.
All right, starting with number 1, outsourcing our brain power and how tech is changing our cognitive habits.
So our smartphones have essentially become external hard drives for our brains. And researchers are pointing out this deeply ironic reality. We literally have more information in our pockets right now than any generation in human history, right? But IQ scores are actually falling. People are calling it brain rot. We aren't retaining knowledge anymore. We're just getting incredibly good at Googling things. We basically traded our own human memory for a glass brick.
And this outsourcing goes straight into the world of artificial intelligence, too. We're trading the total revelation of original thought for, mediocre AI slop. Students, professionals, you name it. Everyone is increasingly relying on chatbots to just completely bypass the actual learning process. Sure, it feels super efficient in the moment, but it's leading to a very measurable, real-world decline in our logical reasoning skills.
Think about it like this. If you don't exercise your brain, its muscles get just as weak as your legs during a weekend Netflix binge. We all know about the severe health risks of sitting around staring at screens all day, but we are doing the exact same damage to our minds when we constantly outsource our creativity and our problem-solving to a microchip.
Moving right along to part 2, losing our physical intuition. Let's talk about our physical and spatial habits.
Ask yourself, when was the last time you successfully navigated anywhere using a physical paper map? GPS is, without a doubt, a total miracle of modern convenience. But because of it, we have completely outsourced our spatial reasoning. We've traded our internal compass for turn-by-turn voice directions. Honestly, it's gotten to the point where if the GPS satellites ever went offline, half the population probably wouldn't even be able to find their way home for dinner.
And this trend is literally driving right into our vehicles. Car manufacturers have been stripping out tactile buttons, the ones you could safely feel for without taking your eyes off the road, and replacing them with giant mounted tablets. So now you're essentially playing with an iPad at 70 miles per hour. It's basically legally sanctioned distracted driving. Something as simple as just turning up the AC has become this high-stakes game of navigating through 3 different digital submenus.
Okay, section 3, the convenience trap, where we'll look at our administrative and social habits.
Being connected 24/7 has introduced this brand new layer of daily anxiety into our lives. Just look at the smartwatch tether. At 8 a.m., your wrist buzzes because work emails are demanding attention. At 12:30 p.m., you get a life admin alert because a leaf just blew past your Ring doorbell. And by 6 p.m., you're getting bombarded with social media metrics. These wearables were supposed to free us from our phones, but instead, they've just locked us into a state of perpetual alertness. We literally have to pencil in time just to get 2 minutes of actual peace.
And then there's what the sources perfectly describe as password purgatory. Take something as simple as parking a car. Remember when you could just drop a quarter in a meter and walk away? Yeah, not anymore. Now, you pull up, you have to download a new proprietary app, create a unique username, set up multi-factor authentication, and basically hand over a blood sample just to park for 10 minutes. We are being forced to run this insane digital obstacle course just for the most basic human transactions.
Honestly, as the source material so frankly puts it, it is absolutely freaking insane.
The sheer volume of hoops we are expected to jump through just to buy a taco or, pay for street parking is a massive erosion of actual convenience. And the wildest part? It's all masquerading under the guise of technological progress.
To put that into perspective, the crucial number here is 200. People are finally caving and downloading dedicated password managers for one simple reason. We are now forced to juggle over 200 individual login items for our everyday apps and services. 200! That is a massive, exhausting administrative burden that literally did not exist a decade ago.
So what happens when one of those 200 apps inevitably breaks? Well, you enter the loop. You encounter an issue, and boom, you immediately hit an impenetrable wall of robot help. You get fed a bunch of garbage prompts that have absolutely nothing to do with your problem, and you ultimately just find yourself shouting, "Representative!" into the void. This automated customer support is designed entirely to simplify the company's life while turning yours into an endless, frustrating nightmare, just to do something like unsubscribe from a mailing list.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 4, Reclaiming Our Habits.
Now that we've seen exactly how these gadgets are rewiring our behaviors, it's time to reflect. There's this fantastic quote that says, "A computer makes it possible to do, in half an hour, tasks which were completely unnecessary to do before." It is just the perfect encapsulation of our modern dilemma. We have to take a step back and really ask, are these gadgets actually making our lives better, or are they just forcing us to do a bunch of unnecessary administrative chores?
But hey, here is a really empowering statistic to take away. 9%. Studies have actually proven that simply putting your smartphone completely out of sight, like physically leaving it in another room, boosts your brain power by 9%. Just by breaking that visual tether, your cognitive capacity immediately starts to rebound. You don't have to throw your phone in the ocean, you literally just have to put it out of sight.
So this leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question to end on today. Are you controlling your gadgets, or are your gadgets controlling your habits? I really want you to take a hard look at your own daily routines after this. Hopefully, this explainer sparked some curiosity and gave you the structured insight you need to start reclaiming your offline life. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and as always, keep asking the big questions.